The Isaiah Factor Uncensored starts right now.
Welcome and thank you for joining us on The Factor Uncensored tonight. We're starting off with a very special edition of Angela After Dark as we embrace Mental Health Awareness Month. We're diving into multiple issues, including the darkness where many end up as a result of that pressure weighing on them, and it leads to suicide. Also, families who may intentionally hide the mental health issues of other family members. We check out obsessive behavior and clingy people who can't help themselves in a relationship, and how money can be the root of mental anguish, leaving someone feeling like they want to take their own lives. All of this.
So that day, it was more of an impulse. You know, it wasn't premeditated. It wasn't something that I planned. You know, it wasn't like, all right, today's the day I'm going to end it all. It just, in that particular moment, things had gotten so bad. And after a situation, the feeling of sadness and depression, and they just got so much to where it's like lifting weights, and you're lifting something really heavy to where you feel like I can't hold it anymore. And out of impulse, you know, I tried to end it all, but by the grace of God, I was unsuccessful.
And of course, that's David Settle, who is a regular here on The Factor Uncensored. And I had no idea that at one point he contemplated taking his own life and actually tried, but was unsuccessful. And we're glad he's here. Let's turn to our guest on this issue tonight. Joining us, Dr. Angela Jones and licensed professional counselor Brandon Davis. Glad to have you both here on The Factor Uncensored. Very important show, Dr. Jones. When people are approaching that darkness, what should they do in order to prevent themselves from taking that ultimate step of suicide?
When people get into a dark space, a lot of people feel isolated and alone. And so the thing that they need to do is the opposite of how they feel that they need to do. And usually we tell people you need to communicate, you need to talk to someone, let them know that you are feeling this way. Of course, as a therapist, I am always going to suggest going to therapy, but there are steps before even sometimes going to therapy, which is reaching out to a loved one, talk to someone, let them know, like, I'm not feeling like myself. I feel like I need some company. I feel like I'm alone. I need someone around me. So I would say the first thing is to reach out and talk to somebody.
And Brandon, the struggle for many family members out there and friends, there are no signs sometimes that are shown. And the next thing you know, that person is gone. They've taken their own life before you could even try.
And that's very true. And as a family member, friend, I know we've all heard before, check on your strong friends. You check in, you ask, are you okay? How's your day going? How's your week going? How's your year going? Be available. Healing isn't always talking. Sometimes it's just being there. Create a safe space, allow them to come to you without judgment, without dismissal, and don't take things for granted.
And how can you, Dr. Jones, make sure you don't make someone feel uncomfortable when you say the word? If you think they're contemplating taking their own lives, should you be careful when you approach them when you say suicide?
Yeah, I do, because I think a lot of people understand that when you say the word suicide, the first thing they think about is like they're going to take me away and lock me up and put me into a hospital. And unfortunately, what we know is that statistically, a lot of people think of suicide. Now, as far as the act of suicide, that's a different statistic. So being able to tell someone, like, I like the fact that you named the segment darkness. Like, I'm feeling dark. I'm not feeling like myself, you know. And so you can use the same language the person is talking to you. If they're saying I'm feeling dark, you could say, tell me about feeling dark, rather than say, tell me about the fact that you're feeling suicidal. You know, a lot of the reason that a lot of people do not seek care is because their fear of judgment. They feel like they're alone, and they don't feel like they have a way out. And so trying to just use the same language they're using, hey, I feel like I don't want to be here anymore. Use that same language with them, and it makes them feel seen, it makes them feel heard as well.
And Brandon, how do we normalize the issue of going to visit a counselor, a therapist, someone who can provide help? Many times people don't want people to know that they're going to see a counselor, saying, oh, someone's going to think I'm off, I'm crazy.
Once again, like Dr. Jones said, we discuss it. That's how you normalize it. You don't keep it taboo. You don't necessarily keep it a secret. And no, you don't have to discuss what you discuss with your therapist in public and with people, but you normalize it. You let them know, like, a therapist is anybody, just like a doctor or a dentist. There's no taboo there, and that will help erase the stigma.
And for those who may be contemplating it tonight, what would you say to them, Dr. Jones? And of course, we also have our suicide number available for those viewers out there. What would you say to them? I
would say definitely call 988. It's a hotline. They're trained professionals. They're there actually, even if you just need someone to talk to. Their aim is not to hospitalize you. Their aim is sometimes just to listen, sometimes to guide you into the right direction. What people don't understand is that if you add therapy into your life, if you're feeling this way, especially with cognitive behavioral therapy, the likelihood of you attempting suicide actually reduces 50%. That is significant. And so for a lot of people who are like, therapy doesn't work, what is therapy going to do for me? I feel like I'm at the lowest. Just know that the statistics are actually in your favor by reaching out, calling this number, trying to get help. Even if you're not sure who you want to see, that the first thing to do, that's why they made this number totally different, because it was getting mixed up with 911 calls. So this is a dedicated place for people to even just have a listening ear, non-judgmental, someone you will never probably see in your life.
All right, Dr. Jones and Brandon, thank you both. Dr. Jones, don't go anywhere. Use that number if you need it. We'll continue Angela After Dark after the break. And welcome back to this special half of The Factor Uncensored, where we focus on mental health awareness this month. Our focus now is on how some families hide loved ones with mental health illness in the dark. For example, autism or Down syndrome. I spoke with Leona Phyllis, who's on the other end of that dilemma. She says her son wants to hide that he's autistic from the public.
Well, I have a son. He is now a junior in high school. And over the past, I don't know how many months, he's been asking me to not tell people that he is on the autism spectrum. And when we're out in public, he doesn't even want me to say the words out loud, autism. And the concern is that he's just going to be discriminated against, that he'll be made fun of or just attacked in some way. And it's kind of concerning.
Joining us to talk about it, licensed professional counselor, supervisor Aaliyah Watson, and Dr. Jones is back. So, Aaliyah, when you see a mother with that dilemma, obviously her son got it from somewhere, what he sees in the public, your thoughts about how to handle that, how to deal with that aspect of hiding?
I think it's having open conversation with the child, and also as a parent educating yourself, because a lot of this information isn't easily accessible. It isn't open to the public. So asking your physicians, doing your own research so that you can better educate yourself, so that you can explain to your child what exactly the diagnosis means and how that impacts how you interact with others or even in the school setting.
And when we look at the other end of that, Dr. Jones, we do have many families out there who are hiding family members or won't talk about autism, Down syndrome, depression, other problems that they are hiding.
Correct.
How do you get those people to get the nerve, the strength, the willpower to address it, first of all, in their homes, and then with others?
See, the thing is, it does depend on who the others are. Within your home, I think it is important to educate the people in your home. Hey, this is what we're dealing with, and this is what it is. You want to make sure the family members are supportive. Others, I think this mother, I actually respect the fact that she's respecting her son's wishes. The son is saying, I don't want you to say it out loud, and she's respecting his wishes, because that allows him to feel like he has like some sense of control in the space that he doesn't have control in, right? Now, if you're hiding it and it's hiding them from resources, not getting the therapy or the needs that they need to get, then that is a detriment to not only you, but also the person who is suffering. So just educating each other, hey, you know, hey brother, hey sister, hey husband, this is what it is, and this is what we're gonna do. The other people need to be people that you know that are going to be supportive, that can help you, that can even like transport them to maybe their appointments and things like that.
And Aaliyah, a lot of families tend to hide those family members from social media. How big of a problem is that now if someone puts their child on social media and they're afraid that the public will attack them?
I think that's a normal concern. Even when your kids don't have autism or issues like that, people naturally are over criticizing you whenever you're on social media. So let alone when somebody looks different, they're going to be more critical. Like even if we want to talk about something now with Beyonce's daughter, there's a lot of accusations in the comments about her having autism and things like that. So it opens them to more scrutiny.
And of course, people will be cruel. Thank you both.
People will be cruel.
Absolutely. Don't go anywhere. This special edition of Angela After Dark continues after the break. Keep it here on The Factor.
Look at it. Very
And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. It's Mental Health Awareness Month. Relationships aren't easy or perfect, but some behaviors can be very unhealthy, like being too clingy or too close to someone when they just want a break from you. We have our next guest joining us with Dr. Angela Jones, Dr. Dan. I like that, Dr. Danny.
Dr. Dan.
So, Dr. Danny, if you have someone in a relationship and they are constantly glued to your side, you can't breathe, you love them, but it's like, let me breathe. What would you do in a case like that?
One, I would just pretty much ask them exactly what are some fears that you're possibly having within this relationship? How can we navigate that? Because most likely if someone is very obsessive or very clingy, there's some undertones that are not being present at that moment that you possibly have to dig up to figure out, okay, maybe I need to address what those fears are, because it could be abandonment issues, it could be whatever happened with their childhood. And so address that and then figure out what boundaries needs to be created so that those behaviors can either be like a pause.
Now, Dr. Jones, clingy is one thing, obsessive can be scary.
Yes.
If someone is obsessed with you in a relationship, what should you do then?
You know, at first people usually are flattered, right? That someone wants to be around me so much. Oh, she's so into me, he's so into me. But trust me, that fades really quick. And you're starting to realize like this is actually a problem. And then the problem is that people don't address it. And because they don't know how to address it. Like, how do I tell someone, like, are you obsessed with me? Are you too clingy? And I tell people when you're—
That would be too blunt though, right?
It will be too blunt. But I always say if you want to do it with love, right? The best thing to do is use I statements when discussing it. Hey, I feel like very overwhelmed sometimes when we're always together. I think it would be a good idea if maybe we try some things separately and then come back together to talk about it. So make it about how something is making you feel and not like what is wrong with you, you have a problem, even though they may. And this will actually leave the door open for you to like suggest other things like, hey, maybe you should go out with your friends, or maybe we should go to couples counseling together. If you're noticing this type of behavior very soon, like very fast in a relationship, I would say that's a red flag.
And Dr. Danny, what if that person in the relationship is deaf to everything you're saying? They don't hear it. They haven't changed at all. What are you left to do?
You're left to focus on yourself. Figure out what exactly you need to do.
I thought you were going to say restraining order.
Well, in some cases you might need to go that way.
But go ahead.
But definitely you need to pretty much focus on yourself and see what is the best outcome for you in this present moment. Should you continue on and decide you want to invest all your time into this relationship when you know that those red flags were present? Or you need to decide, okay, maybe we need to take a step back. You need to focus on yourself, or your partner needs to focus on themselves, so they can decide maybe right now a relationship is not the best time.
And thin line between love and hate keeps coming to mind.
Yes.
Could it become dangerous, Dr. Danny?
Absolutely, absolutely. If you have someone who is always checking your phone or have a tracker on your car or different things.
They do that.
They do that. You might need to include some law enforcement to be involved, or change some devices or change your location, because some people just always need to be around you all the time, not based off of your behaviors, but based off of their own personal insecurities.
But in the beginning, handle it with care.
Handle it with care.
Because there's a difference between clingy and obsessive.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Total difference. All right. Thank you, Dr. Danny. Dr. Jones, stick around. We continue our discussion on mental health in just a moment. And welcome back. Many people are stressing about how they're going to pay their bills or stretch their cash until their next check. But what happens when that stress can snowball and drive someone to suicidal thoughts? Dr. Angela Jones is back for this special edition of Angela After Dark. Obviously, money could give you everything you want, but also give you a lot of problems, especially if you don't have it. It can ruin relationships, lives, your thoughts on if you and your partner may be stressing over money.
You know, the thing is, it's stressing over money and stressing when you had a lot of money and you're losing a lot of money. There's the
And
same,
that could be happening to a lot of people
and it's
right
happening
now.
right now. What I'm realizing, there's people that have had money or earned a lot of money, and what they're seeing is the trickle-down effects. Literally, their bank accounts are getting lower and lower, and how that's creating anxiety, is creating depression, and creating just a lot of fear. I mean, you could turn on the TV right now, and you can see what's happening or what's about to happen to our money. The tariffs, you know, our economic distress, and even that alone is creating like this constant, steady set of anxiety in almost every American. And so that, paired with the fact that you're actually looking at your bank and you're wondering, like, can I even buy a pack of chicken? You know, the price of eggs is going up. The price of milk is going up. And right now, just the fact that everything right now is about survival, it is creating a different type of person, especially now with this new administration. So,
And many times when there is a breadwinner in the family, we would say, a lot of times the man of the house. You looked at me strange, but you know, let's just go with me for the segment.
I'm flowing.
But if he has financial problems, 9 times out of 10, he's not willing to share that with the wife or significant other and put the burden on them. And that only makes it worse, right?
It does make it worse, and I think it's also because, you know, we put ourselves in certain roles, you know, so the role of protector, provider, and he also knows the finances of their partner. Like, if you know your partner is not working or they're not making that much money, to bring this stress home and let them know, hey, we're about to be broke, it's now more than one person stressed, now 2 people are stressed. And so they feel sometimes that they're protecting their home, they're protecting, you know, their household by doing that, but what they're doing is they're isolating themselves, and it is creating a very heavy burden on them. And a lot of people around them won't understand, like, what is wrong with him? Why is he acting this way? It's because you're keeping it in.
And so how do you suggest or advise someone to tell their significant other before they get to, like we're talking about, the darkness tonight, and they feel alone and they take that ultimate step by committing suicide? So how do you approach that wife or husband and say, look, this is what's going on?
So there's 2 places. If you foresee that you're about to be in some financial heartache, like you can see it coming, like, oh, we're about to get laid off, or I'm about to lose a lot of money. Let's start with that conversation now before it happens, okay? If you are, you know, blessed enough to be in that situation. Now, a lot of us, we're not in that situation. We're already in it, and we're in it deep, and we usually are fearful of bringing that shame to the family. And so what happens is, if you want to talk to your partner about it, I would say talk about how you're feeling first, and then talk about the finances. Hey, I'm feeling very overwhelmed right now. I have been really thinking about not being here. I just want to run away, and this is what's going on. Because what it will do is help humanize what's going on. Your partner can actually be there in a more supportive way, and maybe not also bringing that fear into the conversation.
And of course, if they're hiding things, you look out for, like, checking the insurance policies and, you know, wills. Should you be concerned, really quick in the last 30 seconds,
I mean,
if they're going around and you know there are problems and they won't talk, but they're checking wills and insurance policies and all of that?
You definitely need to confront, and not confront in an anger way, but hey, what's going on? I'm noticing that you're changing our insurance policy and you've inquired about our will. Is there something that I need to know? And that usually leaves the door open. But remember, your approach and how you talk to someone helps them know, like, how they can talk to you back.
All right. Dr. Angela Jones, thank you for this Mental Health Awareness Month special
you for
here on
having
The
me.
Factor, and bringing all of your friends and colleagues.
Yes, they're amazing.
The number to the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is 988. Remember that. It is open 24 hours if you need to speak to someone.